it's really cool as an actor when you get the chance to learn an entirely new element or tool. It's kind of one of the gifts of like, not only do you get to have fun being an actor, but you get to explore something entirely new that you now get to keep with you forever.
Thank you so much, Anna, for making this film and for bringing this fantastic group of people tonight so that we can have an opportunity to hear more about how this was made and just to really be together, because so much of your film is about community, about feeling on the outside and about feeling included. So thank you for letting us be a part of your experience. Can we go down the line? Anna, do you want to start, introduce yourself, and say how you're involved in the film, please?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, hi, everyone. My name is Anna Baumgarten, and I am the writer, director, and one of the producers for Disfluency.
I'm Libe Barer, and I play Jane.
Hey, I'm Chelsea Alden, and I played Amber.
Hi, I'm Dylan Arnold, and I played Jordan.
Hi, guys, and my name is Danny Mooney, and I'm the other producer.
Fantastic. So let's just jump right in. This film took a long time to come to fruition, and it all started with a short film. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey for you, Anna?
Yes, absolutely. So Disfluency started as a short film. The story came about, not surprisingly, but unfortunately, from an experience that I had in college with sexual assault at a party. So I wrote the short film and I produced it, and I brought on my dear friend Lori Hammel to direct it. And when we were casting the role of Jane, we had this like big list. We had like wish list celebrities and people we knew, and we didn't quite know who was going to be this character. And I was watching Sneaky Pete on Amazon, and I saw Libe for the first time. And I'd never seen her in anything before. And I just instantly was like, that's Jane. It was kind of what I describe as like love at first sight for a director. I know. I love Libe.
I love you.
Yeah. So that's like how we got connected. I literally just got a hold of her manager and was like, would Libe want to talk to us about doing this? And she did, and she took a chance on us, and the short film did well, and we got some interest in making it a feature. And I said, Libe, if I write a feature, do you want to do it? And she was down, and her sister, Ariella, who can't be here today, she's shooting and working, which is great. I wrote the other sister role for her too. So that's how the feature came into existence.
That's fantastic. Before we get into a few more questions and details, I'd love to hear, what was your favorite part of this filming experience? Looking back here in 2025, and this has been a long time, could each of you please just give us an insight, your like favorite memory, a part of this film that's always going to stick with you?
Oh,
do you want to start, Anna?
I'm going to throw it to Danny at the end, and I'll go last.
I feel like for me, there was one night, I've said this before, but it was very, very cold suddenly one night in Michigan, and it was the scene that Dylan and Libe were shooting under the dock, and the water was frigid that night. And so Anna and I looked at each other and we're like, we can't have them stand in. They're about to do this anyways. We can't ask like a poor PA to stand in. And we were like, we're standing in. So Anna and I are under the dock, just like nose to nose, like freezing. And there was just like a moment we were looking at each other and we were like, we're doing it. We're making a movie. And that will always be ingrained in my head of like that like pinnacle moment in the film for me.
You suffered with us. That's nice.
Yeah.
You did it for the art.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the whole experience was really wonderful. I think anytime you make a movie, it kind of feels like summer camp, but this in particular felt that way. We were all staying in these beautiful lake houses in Michigan, and especially because it came from this short film, it really felt like a labor of love in this wonderful way. But yeah, that scene in the water was definitely memorable, especially because it was supposed to be summer and we were supposed to be basking in the wonderful water. But
When
yeah,
was
the whole
it?
process was really wonderful.
When was it that when you were
It
shooting
was like
that?
October.
October in Michigan.
No.
Michigan. Okay.
It was September.
Okay.
Like end of September.
It was wetsuit weather. To be clear, you should
We
have
did
been
have
in wetsuit.
wetsuits on. Sorry to break
have
the
wetsuits.
illusion, but
Oh, yeah.
underneath we had wetsuits on.
It was safe for sure,
Safety
but
first.
uncomfortable. And you guys were troopers, so thank you again.
I think for me, my favorite part of the whole film, like you said, it did feel like summer camp being there, but having the opportunity to work with Libe and then Stephanie Nogatis, who was our ASL coach, and teaching us in the moment. We're doing Zoom calls with her, and I had actually worked with Stephanie previously on another film, so realizing that she was our ASL coach was just like this beautiful kismet moment. But knowing it was such a powerful scene and so much had to be communicated without sound, and how do you emote that? How do you, from an actor's perspective, know that you can communicate that clearly as well as not look awkward speaking a whole new language that you just learned a week ago, while still being like present with your scene partner, allowing the whole experience to unfold and become that beautiful scene that it was on the dock. I think that was probably my favorite part of the whole experience. It's really cool as an actor when you get the chance to learn an entirely new element or tool. It's kind of one of the gifts of like, not only do you get to have fun being an actor, but you get to explore something entirely new that you now get to keep with you forever.
Yeah, I think, I was thinking actually both of those things. That sign language scene on the dock was very special and different than anything I had ever done. And also that freezing night scene in the water where I thought I might get hypothermia. But I think as a whole, though, like this movie was just such a labor of love all around. And like, I always think about when I first came onto the project, Anna had me and Laura, who directed the short, over one day, and we just very openly told us in detail this, her story, and we just kind of all sat on the ground and kind of touched grass, and we're doing this thing and it's very special, and that sort of love and openness and kind of carried us through both the short and then the feature, and it made for a really special experience.
Yeah, that I remember that day too. It really was the groundwork for all of this, and telling a very personal story, even though it's a fictionalized version. Jane is very much her own character. Jane is not me. She might be parts of me, parts of people I know, but all of these characters are their own people. So to see Libe take that as groundwork, and then as an actor go home and do the work and figure out who this character is, was so rewarding. There's so many moments and scenes in this whole process that I could talk about. I particularly loved the ensemble scenes. So when we were shooting the bonfire scene, Dylan and Libe, the flirting was so, your chemistry is so great. It's 80 or 90% of directing is casting. So I was really particular about casting, and to the point where we were casting days out from shooting sometimes, flying people from LA a day or two before they were going to be on camera, because I kept saying no to people, which drove...
I think I ended up on a flight and I was shooting the same day I got off the flight. I'm fairly certain.
I don't recommend, and I don't think I'd do again. But I think
that's great.
It worked out beautifully for this film.
Yeah.
So when were you going to say something?
No, I was just, I would remember Anna showing us tapes last minute of people as we were already shooting a weekend, and we were and we weren't able to find the right people, and then magically the right person would come through either on a tape or through Dylan became magically available again because Dylan had done the short, and we were just we got Dylan again. And it was just everything kind of magically came together. And
Yeah, which to the benefit of casting close to shooting, when you're an indie film, you don't have the budget or negotiation to hold people's time. So when you're hey, can you be here next week? And you're talking to, I was talking to your team, and then I was talking to you, and you were yeah, actually my schedule just shifted, so I can't be there. So just a little context for that, but yeah.
So when you were writing this, Anna, you didn't have these people in mind. And it just, when watching the movie, it just feels like, well, of course, these are the people. It just completely, the world is so real, and you think these were always the people. So, it's a room full of actors. We love to hear how it matches up and how you get with the right people at the right time for the right project to magically, so it seems, although it's so much hard work, to make something like the experience that everyone just had watching your film. It comes together in a way, I guess, that it's supposed to, because did you have a strong sense when these people came into your life as they were the character? I know you spoke a little bit about Libe, but that this encompasses it, or was it, well, this is a little outside of what I thought this character would be?
Yes. So when I wrote these characters, I didn't have like a very vivid image of who they were. So part of the creative process for me is, as a writer and director, I, again, do like 80 or 90% of the work, but then bringing the actor is like the final piece to the puzzle. So even if my script is done, there's like missing pieces here and there, because what I look for in tapes or in a room is somebody who shows me something I didn't think of. So it's bringing something to the table and making choices. And, that can be a huge, big, bold choice. It can be like a subtle little thing. Like, for example, Travis Tope, who is not here, but he played Dylan, not to be confused with our Dylan, but the Dylan at the top of the tree. We kept getting tapes of like these like really kind of like macho post-high school guys, like athletic types and stuff, which, I understand why the script might like read that way right away, but I didn't even watch Travis audition. I saw him come across like our desk, and I'd seen him on American Vandal. I don't know if anyone in here has seen that, but he played the fruit ninja in it, and I saw him and I was like, that's him. I was like, that's Dylan. That's the kid. In the script, the description is for Kennedy, and for Dylan is Kennedy peaked in high school, doesn't know it. Dylan peaked in high school, does know it. And so those kind of two things. So I guess what I'm saying is Travis, like I knew instantly, would bring something to the table. Kimiko Singer, who's not here, who played Kennedy, we also got a lot of tapes where actresses were playing it kind of really straightforward, and I hate to boil it down to like one word, but like ditzy or whatever. But Kimmy took the role so seriously. Like she was Kennedy, and she did have a business. And she was like the only person who came to the table with that. And that was something that I, hadn't fully understood until she had showed it to me. So that's like a big piece of it.
So in taking all of these wonderful actors that maybe you had a sense of when you were writing, but then to actually bring them into the fold, how did you create such a sense of history? Did you have rehearsals with the actors? If you were just flying in that day, like how do you create a sense of we've all been here for a while? Because there was a history of people knowing each other. So what did you do to help facilitate that with your actors?
Yeah, so I'll answer this, and I'd love to hear from y'all. So I tend to talk a lot of backstory, a lot of, where these characters have been. And then once we're in the scene, it's a lot of like, where were you right before the scene started? What kind of day were you having? Who are you in this with? What kind of space are you in? Are you in like a very is this a comfortable space for you? Is this a new space? All of these kinds of things. But we didn't do a lot of rehearsing, and I don't rehearse a lot. I'm going to say this. I don't ever think you should rehearse something 100% before you shoot it. Because you lose the magic on like stage where you have some space when you're this close to an actor, getting that like fresh 100% performance. That's the most valuable thing that I have when it comes to performance. But my job truly is creating an environment where you guys can do your best work and feel the most confident in it. And if that means like changing a word or two or having a discussion, that's one thing. But I'm not trying to create the characters for you. You guys are doing that. I'm just, helping hopefully give you the tools.
Well, I think you allowed us to discover a lot of things on camera, which speaking to your not rehearsing fully, because you don't want to discover something in rehearsal and be like, ooh, that was really good. I'm going to try to do that again. And then it just doesn't work. So yeah, having that freedom to like bring our own thing to it and a little improvisation here and there. But I also feel like it was helpful because you knew the characters so well, and that allowed us to like really play within that range where we wouldn't necessarily be off the mark on who they were, but we could like bring our own kind of pizzazz to it, I guess is the word.
I completely agree with that. I think because I did have such a short runway too to start shooting, I trusted the script a lot. I really loved the script when I read it. It really spoke to me. I thought it was really beautiful. I thought it was very specific. And obviously that's your first tool to go off of. But exactly, as soon as I got there, I got onto set and you were immediately like, you gave me so much more detail that just enriched this entire character that I had started to form in my head on the airplane. No, I'm kidding. But it just both validated the choices that I had already started to make, as well as Amber is kind of an outcast anyway from the rest of the group. So I think there was an element that helped that I wasn't as familiar with the rest of the team. I had known Libe, so there was like some history and familiarity there, which I think lent, it just was a perfect little match made in heaven, I think, how everything came together.
Yeah, and I think with that, because I think most of us knew each other in some capacity, or not everyone knew everyone, but like a lot of people were connected to like one person. Like Dylan and I had done the short together. Chelsea and I had known each other. Ariela's my sister. Kimmy and Ariela went to high school together, and that's how she was like, you should tape for this. And Travis was the only wild card, but like immediately became like a part of the group. And I think also something that was really helpful too is like we had a lot of, I really liked that like before we shot anything, we would have like a lot of really in-depth conversations about what we were about to shoot, the characters and whatnot. And like just having those conversations allowed us to sort of like live in that world. And also we were all, shooting in Michigan, staying in lake houses together. And it was like very intimate and like immersive. And we all got to kind of like live in this world together. And
Something else I thought was really cool too, Anna, is like you would start giving all of these, at least in my experience, you were giving me like a lot of backstory and experience, and then you would pause and you'd be like, is this helpful to you or do you want me to stop? Which I think is a really great and self-aware tool for a director to have. Like some actors, they're like, no, I this is my process and I want to do it this way, or I would like to talk about it a week before, or I want to do one take and then talk about it. So actually, I just really appreciated that you created that space for us to like both have the information that you had created, but also allowed us to develop our own thoughts about it.
Yeah, thank you. And again, my goal is always to like work with your process. So a lot of the times I'll like ask actors, what are you used to? And try not to overwhelm, like you said.
Because we have a lot of actors who are also creators and putting together their films, short films and features, could you talk a little bit, Danny, about the process of being a producer here? Because we were talking earlier about the role of the producer when that hat comes off and you have to focus on being a director, and also about how you decided what to shoot in Michigan and what you decided to shoot in LA. Would you take that?
Yeah, totally. So Anna and I both have acting backgrounds, so we're very in sync in terms of just plowing out space for all these guys to create.
Not in front of a camera for me. No, thank you.
Anna was on stage in December, so she's still going. But so we had a very similar vibe with that, and so producing together was super easy, and we just clicked right into it. And what was fun is we could kind of cruise together and yin and yang it. But then right as shooting started, then it was Anna needed to get that director hat on, and so then it was me and really Anthony Canaleal on our who was our co-producer on our main unit, and then we just kind of ran interference as best as we could on, especially on something this small. Like you really have to try to really work to create that space for these guys just to be able to do their best work and be comfy. But yeah, it's super important just to support your teammates and be there for them.
Yeah, and some quick context to why I had somewhat of a producer head on the whole time. The backyard is the backyard I grew up in, and that lake is like the lake I grew up, on the water. And my grandmother's house and my aunt's house are in the film. The grocery store and the ice cream stand, like that's all local and very personal to my life. So like I was connected with a lot of those locations on a personal level. So trying to get that into Danny's hands and out of mine was a fun experience.
Yeah, it was like, here's my aunt's cell phone number. I'm gonna go, and I'll just be like, "Hi, is this Anna's aunt?" And like that was how a lot of it went. It was great.
And what did you shoot in LA then?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So we ended up. There was a few scenes that were the classroom scenes, and then kind of the personification construct of the PTSD world, which was the in the classroom, but with the Christmas lights and all that stuff. And that was we were really putting that together to kind of make it its own little meal. And then the pandemic happened, so then that suddenly was a year later that we shot all that, and we shot it in LA because we were all. Most of us, Libe was out here at that point, but we were all pretty much locked down in LA. So that was a year later. So we shot 18 days Michigan, 3 days in LA, and then 1 day for an establishing unit of all the driving and pretty Michigan stuff.
We also, real quick, because of the pandemic, we couldn't shoot like group scenes, we didn't feel comfortable asking people to do it either. So we utilized some footage from the short film and some footage we didn't even use in the short film for some of those like memory moments.
Oh, wow. That's amazing and so smart to just talk about. I mean, this journey is so long. When would you say, when you think when you actually feel like you wrote the short? So that 2018 or 2017?
2017.
Wow. And to get all the way to here to 2025, that takes a lot of willingness. I want to ask another acting question. I know we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon, and I want everyone to also know where they can find this film, how they can support this film. But for you, Libe, I was wondering, could you just as a helpful tip, talk to us about how you maintain with your director knowing where you were emotionally within the film, because there's a lot of your interior life that's happening that you're not revealing, and I don't know that you shot in sequence. So how did you track that? I think that might be something that would be helpful to actors that are here tonight to hear. What did you do to give yourself the specifics to jump into to know where you were emotionally in the story?
Yeah, I think with this one, I would every night after we wrapped whatever it was, like just fully spend time immersing myself in what we were going to shoot the next day, so that like everything that was we were going to be working on was like available to me the next day. And then also before we shot every scene, like Anna and I and whoever else is in the scene would have like in-depth conversations about like, and there were times I remember Anna would literally like sometimes just remind me of like what was happening in the story and just be like, remember, this is what's happening. And this is like, and I was like, and it was just, and it helped. And it was like, good. And being able to like talk about those things, and that became kind of our like language and shorthand. And like, it seemed obvious and whatever, but like it was really helpful to be able to jump from thing to thing. Cause there was a lot of big jumping. Like I think we shot all of our stuff first, and the dock scene was like day 3 or something. It was like very early on.
We shot some really intense stuff early on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is so impressive because it's so seamless in the film. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. It was really scary for me too, as a director, to be like, okay, this is the big moment. I hope we hit this right, and then everything else flows into it and out of it. So I'm glad that worked.
Me too.
Let's just very quickly, if you don't mind, just sharing some of your best advice for all of our wonderful actors here today and creators, just in moving forward, like what you maybe learned out of this, but also what you would love to impart to our audience today.
Yes. So,
I mean, keep going, right? That's one
right.
of them. Keep going.
Right. Perseverance.
2017.
Yeah,
started.
perseverance and grit was a lot of keeping this alive. I think a big piece of my advice is, first of all, a short film is like a sprint. A feature film is a marathon, but it's all running. Like, you know how to do it. And if you
get good shoes.
Yeah, get good shoes for real. And get people around you cheering you on. But also make something you really love. Like, make sure that the story you're telling is something you can live with for years, because you will, and you will live with it for the rest of your life. So really tell things that you care about, especially if you're, bootstrapping and doing a whole indie film. So Love it.
Anna? Anna, I'm sorry.
Libe, it's all good. I was just so captivated by that answer. I was like, yeah. God, I don't know. I guess this movie, I feel like I knew how personal of a story it was, and it was like important to me that like I really do the story justice, and like that I really like turn myself inside out and like just go for it. And I think that like it was I just think that there's like no other way coming out the other side of it. And I'm like, I think like and what was helpful as I was doing that was like constantly reevaluating like why it is that I'm doing this, and ultimately like for me that is to give people something and to like give people this experience and be able to like have you guys live through this thing without having to like turn yourself inside out in that kind of way. I think it's Ann Carson has this quote about it's the actor's job to like go through the depths of to put yourself through the worst whatever so that other people can like have the experience and don't have to. Yeah, and so I guess just like constantly like through shooting something like this, and also just like to keep going as an actor, just constantly reevaluating like why it is that you're doing this. And yeah.
Chelsea?
Yeah, I think similarly, the kind of best advice I think I took away from this project or lesson was to be willing to experience anything. I think it's really easy as an actor to like, you're like, oh, I've booked a few things here and there, and I'm too good for an indie film now, or I'm too good for a short film or whatever. And, or to start to get an ego or think that, you know, you set your sights on these goals, and these goals are great and lofty, and you have to have them to want to keep that perseverance. But you have to be willing to open a script and have somebody come to you and be like, please read this. I think you'd be great. And just be willing to take that story, take it to heart, and go, oh yeah, no, I don't care about the money. I don't care about how long it's going to take me. I don't care about, I don't know, whatever aspect you might think is the most important thing to you at that time, and go, do I want to be an actor, and do I want to tell this story, and do I want to work with these people? And let that drive you, because I think that attaches you to like your true purpose of why are you a performer? And if the story speaks to you, which this very much did to me, like I think my agent even called me. She's like, this sounds like indie film boot camp. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, 100%. I want to do this. I want to be a part of this story, and I want to tell this as best I can. And I think that was something that I really took away from it. And now, you know, all these years later, watching Anna like commit to it and talk about, you know, just sticking with the process. You have to love the story, and she clearly does, and I think we all do. And yeah, I think it's perseverance and willingness to experience anything as an actor.
Thanks for taking a chance.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, no, I think having love for the project, having love for the character, doing things that scare you, I think is always exciting, because it usually means that you're gonna light a fire under yourself and, you know, do something maybe you wouldn't have done. And I feel like I'm still trying to get better at this, which is focus on the truth of it and the honesty, as opposed to like trying to be good or trying to do something that you think is going to get approval from somebody or whatever. And, you know, speaking to your thing where it's like you might, an indie film, you might be like, oh, well, is this going to move the needle? And
Exactly.
It's like, whatever, dude, you know, like there, it's just like, I don't know. It's you, like you said, you remember why you're in this, and if you're going to grow. And I feel like doing something for experience, because from an acting standpoint, you very rarely have control over the outcome of a project, you know? So picking people that you respect and like the work of, but also doing it for the experience of the thing. And then if it's good, awesome. But, you know, trying to figure out ways to like grow personally through the projects is I think, yeah, fun.
I feel like mine's twofold. One is whether you're a producer or a director or a writer or an actor, they're all cogs in the storytelling machine. And I feel like if you're kind of just in one lane, sometimes you're kind of missing out on other parts of the storytelling. And especially right now, like the industry's really slow. And if you have the chance, even if it's on a bunch of iPhones, like make a short, like do something fun, make a pilot, like work with your friends and then create something. And I feel like I always, no matter where I kind of land in a project, I always learn something from that angle. And then the second part is work with people you love, because these things are long journeys or marathons. And sometimes I'm like, do I run? Can I do the running thing? But if you're with people that you love, it's great. And I know like when you're in casting, sometimes that's tough because you're kind of just like, you get the job and you plug in. But having teammates like this, like it just makes it all worthwhile.
So wonderful. Just very, very inspiring. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about where people can see the film, where we can tell others where to see the film, and what you would hope, who you hope it will reach.
Yes, absolutely. I hope the movie reaches everyone. Watch the movie. Tell people about it. We are on video on demand right now, so you can find us on Amazon and Apple and some other lovely places on the internet, which is very exciting. And we're also doing screenings across the country still. So please share if you love this film, if you found something in this that you think is valuable, and you tell one person, that is like so like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I wanted to share that. And then the last thing is we will be having, we rescheduled our LA premiere. It will be in April hosted by American Cinematheque at Los Feliz 3 cinemas. So that's an event that'll be in April that we're very excited about.
That's wonderful. And also with social media, is there anything specific where people can go to find it, to be able to share from there?
Absolutely. So we're at Disfluency Movie on Instagram. That's primarily where we are. My handle is at Anna Baumgarten.
Libe Barer.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so we're on socials. Find us, tag us, spread the word, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for being here. We really appreciate it. Weren't they awesome? Yeah.